Hey math fans! Today, in Lesson 61, we are explaining step-by-step problems faced in many fields, like physics, machine learning, engineering, and more. Many students asked me to illustrate how to solve problems involving the gradient of a function using a simple and rapid method. For this objective, this lesson is structured to show how to avoid tedious calculations and illusion methods, leading to wasting time and mistakes. Here is our problem statement. Let f of x and y equal x squared plus y squared plus 1. Find the gradient of f, then represent this vector at the point 1, 1. Now, find the gradient of f. Well, before beginning the solution, let us recall the concepts of single-variable calculus. To illustrate this, let f of x equal x squared plus 1. The question is, how does f change? In single-variable calculus, the derivative defines the rate of change. One might ask, how many notations are there to express this derivative? Good! There are different standard notations used to represent this derivative. The most well-known is Lagrange notation, denoted as f prime of x. While Newton adopted the notation with a dot above the function, frequently used in physics to represent a derivative with respect to time, as in differential equations of motion or in charge q, and so on. As for Leibniz's notation, df over dx, read as the derivative of f with respect to x. This notation precisely specifies which variable is taken into consideration and will be adopted henceforth in multivariable functions. For instance, in the case of f of x equal to x squared plus 1, adopting Leibniz's notation, the derivative is written as df over dx equals d over dx of the quantity x squared plus 1, which gives 2x. All of these notations represent the exact same mathematical concept, namely, how much the output of the function changes when you make a tiny change to the input variable x. Geometrically, this gives the slope of the tangent line to the curve at any given point. Well, what happens in the case of two variables? Okay, let f of x comma y equal x squared plus y squared plus 1. To find the partial derivative with respect to x, we hold y constant. Differentiating term by term with respect to x squared gives 2x, y squared, considered constant, gives 0, and the derivative of the constant one is 0. Therefore, the partial derivative of f with respect to x equals 2x. Likewise, to determine the variation along the y-axis, we calculate the partial derivative with respect to y, holding x constant. Differentiating term by term with respect to y, x squared, considered constant, gives 0, y squared gives 2y, and the derivative of the constant one is 0. Therefore, the partial derivative of f with respect to y equals 2y. Now, using the previous partial derivatives, we define the gradient vector written with a symbol resembling an inverted triangle, called nabla or del, or sometimes given as grad f, placed before the function name. The gradient of f equals the vector with the partial derivative with respect to x as the first component, and the partial derivative with respect to y as the second component. Using the previous results, this leads to the gradient of the function f equals the vector with components 2x and 2y. Furthermore, the nabla operator in Cartesian coordinates is given by the partial derivative with respect to x, the partial derivative with respect to y, and the partial derivative with respect to z. What next? To visualize the surface configuration of the function f in 3D, Figure 1 shows obviously that this surface has the form of an upward-oriented paraboloid, or bowl. suspended exactly at its vertex at z equals 1 on the vertical axis, where x equals 0 and y equals 0. Furthermore, the intersection of any plane parallel to the xy plane with the surface forms circles centered on the symmetry z-axis, as depicted on the slide. Well, now, let us evaluate the gradient of f at the point 1, 1. Since x equals 1 and y equals 1, we replace these values in the gradient vector 2x, 2y. This yields 2 times 1 for the first component and 2 times 1 for the second. Namely, the gradient of f at 1, 1 equals the vector with components 2 and 2. Now, to draw the gradient of f at 1, 1, which equals the vector with components 2 and 2, let us look simply at the projection of the 3D surface of f onto the xy plane, as shown in Figure 2. This figure clearly visualizes the vector 2, 2. It begins at the point 1, 1, and its tip points flawlessly to the point 3, 3. The gradient vector is colored in brown. Now, observe how the gradient vector changes direction and magnitude as x and y change. At point 1, 1, it points directly uphill, and the gradient vector becomes 2, 2, as we found previously. But as the yellow point slides to the vertex 0, 0, 1, the gradient shrinks to 0 because at the minimum, there is no ascent. Good. Now we move to a function with 3 variables. Here is our second problem statement. Let f of x, y, and z equal x squared plus y squared minus z squared. 1. Find the gradient of f of x, y, z. 2. Evaluate the gradient at the point P 1, 0, negative 1. 3. Find the level surface f of x, y, z equals constant at the point P 1, 0, negative 1. In this part, we consider the function f of x, y, and z equals x squared plus y squared minus z squared. To find the gradient of f of x, y, and z, we adopt the same method used in the previous example. We begin by calculating the partial derivative with respect to x, holding y and z constant. This means the partial derivative of f with respect to x is the derivative of x squared plus y squared minus z squared with respect to x. Since y and z are both considered constant, their derivatives give 0. Therefore, the partial derivative of f with respect to x equals 2x. Likewise, the partial derivative of f with respect to y equals 2y, and the partial derivative of f with respect to z equals negative 2z. This yields the gradient of the function f equals the vector with components 2x, 2y, and negative 2z. To evaluate the gradient of f at the point P, 1, 0, negative 1, we replace x with 1, y with 0, and z with negative 1 in the gradient vector 2x, 2y, negative 2z. This allows us to write the gradient of f at 1, 0, negative 1 equals the vector with components 2, 0, and 2. To visualize, obviously and with clarity, the gradient of f at the point 1, 0, negative 1, let us look at the 3D surface defined by x squared plus y squared minus z squared. This surface is a hyperboloid of one sheet, centered on its vertical symmetry z-axis, while the x and y axes extend across the horizontal plane, as shown in Figure 3. Now, consider the plane passing through the z-axis and the point P, 1, 0, negative 1. This plane intersects the hyperboloid along a hyperbola, as displayed in Figure 4. Focusing on the Zox plane, we see a vector starting at p, 1, 0, negative 1, and ending at q, 3, 0, 1. This defines the vector with components 2, 0, and 2, which equals the gradient of f at the point 1, 0, negative 1. Well, what next? Now, to find the level surface f of x, y, and z equals constant at the point p, 1, 0, negative 1. First, write the function expression. F of x, y, and z equals x squared plus y squared minus z squared equals constant. Then, to determine the constant, plug in the coordinates of p, 1, 0, negative 1 into the expression for f. This gives 1 squared plus 0 squared minus negative 1 squared equals constant, which equals 0. Namely, x squared plus y squared minus z squared equals 0. So, the level surface equation is expressed as x squared plus y squared minus z squared equals 0. Now, to visualize the 3D level surface of the function x squared plus y squared minus z squared equals 0, we rewrite it as z squared equals x squared plus y squared. This implies two solutions. First, z sub 1 equals the square root of x squared plus y squared, which represents the upward-oriented cone. Second, z sub 2 equals negative square root of x squared plus y squared, which represents the downward-oriented cone, as shown clearly in Figure 5. This double cone, with vertex at the origin, has the vertical z-axis as its symmetry axis. In fact, this result reveals that the level surface passing through the point 1, 0, negative 1 is actually the boundary case between the two types of hyperboloids shown earlier. Well, now, are you ready to sharpen your skills? To consolidate the methodology we covered in Lesson 61, we have a new homework challenge for you. Here is our problem statement. Let f of x, y, and z equal the natural logarithm of x squared plus y squared plus z squared plus e raised to the power of x, y, z. First, find the gradient of f. Next, evaluate the gradient at the point p, 1, 0, 1. Then, find the maximum rate of change at the point p, 1, 0, 1. Well, I hope you enjoyed this step-by-step solution. Keep practicing. Share this lesson with your friends. If this lesson was helpful, we invite you to like, share, and subscribe to Math Olympiad Academy for more advanced problem solving. See you in the next lesson.